Hello everybody, in today's video I'm installing this custom headliner that I did myself, as well as turning the trunk from this into this. Okay, so let's go. Some of you guys that are sharper are probably looking at that little ditty in the intro and saying, hey, wait a minute, that looks like one 10-inch subwoofer. It had two 12s in there. That's not an improvement. Hold on, let me show you. You're right, that is one 10-inch subwoofer, but the two 12s are still here. Banana jack outlets on both sides basically means it's easy to swap it over. The reason I did this is specifically for the Hot Rod Power Tour because I'll show you here. With the large box in the trunk, there's just really, there's not enough trunk room to do anything. So this is kind of a travel thing, but the main part that I want you to focus on is finishing off this, right? So this part here has foam board behind it. So does this part, that part, all the sides. And it's actually removable. Nothing's fastened into the car. Well, I take that back. The sides are not fastened into the car. Those come apart with Velcro. And this is technically not fastened to the car either. It's a little more difficult than it looks. I'll show you some of the process here. Now, as far as this headliner here, I'm a little bit biased. Because I'm born in the early 70s. So to me, like 80s cars, like mid to late 80s cars is kind of like how a car should be, other than the horsepower and smog and emissions. So I've always liked the way the G-bodies, did this, the smooth headliner, the felt type material headliner with the foam behind backing it. And I never liked the bow. The construction I'll show you that these kind of cars, this A-body 1971 Cutlass is what this is. You guys hopefully have been watching the entire build. I've got like 20 some videos on it already. But they come with metal bows, fabric, and it just reminds me of like a covered wagon. I just never liked it. So I wanted to do something a little bit different with it that was, tasteful. And this does actually gain me just a little bit of headroom as well. So I'll start explaining how I did this. It wasn't, original. I'll tell you that right up front. I'll even show you, I'll link below. This guy's awesome Latino guy, does custom headliners for like low riders and stuff like that and street rods. And I kind of copied some of his techniques. So that's kind of the idea of it, was just to finish off the interior. So let me turn the camera on and kind of show you around. So in case you haven't seen it, this entire interior was bench seat and brown, ugly brown. The brown and the cranberry I didn't think went together. I hated the bench seat, didn't have a sports steering wheel. The entire black interior minus the front seats I got from a local guy, along with the console. That's a used Hurst shifter I rebuilt. I got the gauges with the interior, 2 aftermarket gauges there. The seats are a new Procar Rally 1000 XL. These are the wider seats. I would always advise everybody get the wider ones. And the sunvisors here are the ones that came with the interior. I didn't get a headliner, but these came with the interior, and I recovered those with the same headliner material. I'll show you that process too. The stainless steel, or I should say brushed aluminum, the faux brushed aluminum is stick-on. I did that as well. And you can see here even the Holley computer readout. And right here, this is for USB charging. And there's USB charging ports on the armrests where the ashtrays used to be in the rear. That's important if you have teenagers and you want them to think your car is cool. If they can't charge their phone, man, it won't pass tech for them. So let's start with a headliner. My next approach then was, I thought, you know what? I'll get a headliner board from the junkyard from a similar vehicle. I made measurements and I was wandering around the boneyard, and believe it or not, just based on my, quick measurements and walking around a junkyard in 25-degree weather, this is the vehicle that was available that seemed to fit the best, because a lot of new cars have protrusions and things and you can't use a headliner, and I wanted the vehicle, it had to be, a little more square, which is why I chose this truck. And here is the headliner. I didn't care that the material was falling off because I was going to rip it off anyway. All right, guys. The truck headliner's in there. Headliner board, let me show you. I think this is a bad idea. So as I said, it's in there. It doesn't fit horribly. This front edge, it's actually a little bit too wide, which surprises me. And the front edge, but I guess the point is it's close, but close isn't really that useful. It's too short. It has this dip in it. I tried, actually, believe it or not, I stole my wife's iron. Don't let her know that. And iron that it doesn't iron out. I just thought maybe that, I could reform it. So, I'm going to have to, this side needs to come down a little bit. It's like I said, it's it's too wide. I'm gonna have to cut it in the middle. So if I have to fiberglass the middle back together and lengthen the back and then take that hump out, I think I have a better idea how to do this. All right, this is my idea. This is insulation board. This stuff was from Menards, $12 for a pack of 6 of them. So 14.5, only 3/4 inch thick, 48 inches. Some of these get really expensive. You can pay $40 a pop for the big ones, like the 4x8 sheets. I'll show you. I'll just start doing it. So basically, I'm going to layer these to get it. I think 3 inches might be thick enough. I might need a little more thickness at the edge, but I don't need 3 sheets all the way across to get like 4 inches on an edge. I'm going to basically glue them together. That's the best representation. And then that's going to let me kind of do like this, you see? Let's say I have to layer 3 pieces. And then, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the shape. I'm going to fit it up in there against the ceiling. So once I get the top of this sculpted the way I want it, that's going to give me a mold to mold a fiberglass headboard liner. All right, I've got the start of what I want here, see? So that's 4.5 inches thick should be. The glue I've seen, the glue where you spray it, actually the glue dissolves a little bit of the foam, so the styrofoam, so I've got to be careful with that. But now what I need is I need the Thanksgiving, what do you call it, the electric carving knife? You know, it's got like 2 blades. That's going to be the perfect thing to carve this. I could go in and ask my wife for it. She'll know exactly where it is in a second. That'll save me time, but then I have to explain to her why I need it when she knows I'm not cooking. Or I can look for it for myself. Okay, here's where I'm at with it. You can see it's cut, contoured, you know, making a mess. But I think if you look, I think ideally it should like fit right up in there. That's when I'll know it's the contours right. But you see that? Ah, man, it's getting there. Guys, here's what I've got. This is a little depressing. It's so ugly. I don't know. I've tried to fill in the gaps. This is that, like, it's not great stuff, the brand, but it's DAP's version. All right, this isn't horrible. Watch. I don't know if this video is ever going to see the light of day. I'm not too excited about the results. My mind is leaning towards covering this whole thing in Bondo, but God, that's going to be a lot of body filler. I don't know where I'm going with this. By the way, there's spots here. It was like a void, and then you see it's like goopy gooey. As it was drying, I tried to take a Bondo spatula and spread it, and it would just kind of deflate, almost like you're touching yeast, you know, like bread. That's bread dough that's rising into yeast, and you touch it and it deflates. That's what that is. So that didn't work at all. You just have to let it dry and then deal with it. But like I said, this is even worse than the styrofoam. Okay, so I think that idea there is a fail. I think I'm going to scrap this idea. I think all I've really done is just made an absolute disaster of my garage. So what I did last night for a couple hours was I watched some YouTube about different ways to do custom headliners. And there's some better ways to do this, which I'll show you here. So here's what I've come up with, and it's actually working surprisingly well. This is 1/8 inch foam board. Got it from Hobby Lobby. And I have to do it in 4 pieces though. Didn't have a piece large enough. I'd have to do it in 2 pieces regardless, because you have to tuck it in. So I don't know if you can tell, but it's tucked in here above, between this piece of metal and the roof skin. You can see there's a gap here. It's tucked in up in there. And then I'm going to have these auxiliary pieces here. And this one will kind of cover that.
And I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. There's, like I said, a lot of different ways to do a headliner. One of the professionals that he showed how he did it was he used wood, 1/8 inch thick wood, 2 pieces, just like this. So there's a left half, complete sheet tucked up in there, a right half tucked up in there, and then joined them together, in the middle. And he did front and back, and then had a piece of wood above them so that you had something to screw to. In this case, I don't need a piece of wood. I can just attach to here. And then what he did was he put piping, like right here. He put piping just a couple inches away, all the way around the perimeter, like a large 1/4 inch piping, and then would glue the headliner to the piping. And then from the piping, he glued the headliner right here, but he did not glue the headliner from the piping to here. So in other words, it would just span this so that you wouldn't see these lumps and bumps. It would go around the piping, I'm exaggerating, and then glue to here. So from this span here, it wasn't connected to anything. I just don't like that because I don't want to piping around a perimeter. That kind of car, which is more like a lowrider or, that kind of stuff, I think that would look nice. But I don't want that on this. I want one smooth, continuous. So that's what I'm trying to do with this piece here. And here are the 4 base, I guess you'd call it, pieces fitted. That's not a gap. That's tape because I cut a piece too short by like 1.5 inches. So I lengthened out one of the seam back there. It actually holds surprisingly well. But you see that? That's the back edge. So let me show you the front. I've cut so that I could, get this front edge to bend a little bit, right? I don't know if that shows up well. Maybe that's a better way to do it. But anyway, that's going to line up right about there. Oh, I also took it on the grinder and I beveled. I don't know if you can see. Beveled that edge. And this is going to go right about there. Right? And I need pieces for the sides and the back. This is so far what I have for the side curtain. I've obviously got to go around these cables but something like that. And I think actually that cutout there that's out needs to be the other way. It probably just needs to be straight. That needs to be removed, that kick out there. But then I need more for the back. But I think you kind of get the idea. I think that's going to work. All right, I've got a little bit of a system going here. So I don't know if you can see this side. I've got that side piece up. It goes a little bit past where the seatbelt hole goes. I still got to do the back portion. It's not too bad. I could have contoured this a little better. You can't really tell, but right through here where you have this bracing, it does curve just a little bit. So I maybe could have, this is an exaggeration, but I guess I could have contoured that a little bit to, for that hump. That might have been a little bit better. I didn't realize that, but that is screwed in. So those 2 screws there that are holding it in are right here. Those are pre-existing holes. These are the holes for the brackets that hold up the seatbelt, because the factory seatbelt is non-retracting, and when you get out of the car, you like fold it and tuck it up there. So I'm using those. So I put these 2 number 6 screws in. They're just in there, just in the hole to make an impression. And then what I can do is, and by the way, the edge of this, if you can see there, is beveled, right? So then I place this up in place, and I'll do this here real quick. I just put it up where it's going to be, and then I'll press it. And I know approximately where those screws are because I marked this thing. So hold on. Yeah, I think it's about there. And then you get 2 very clear indentations of where the screw holes are, and then I can poke it through. And you can see now I've got it up in place. And then overall fits pretty good with just those 2 screws. So you see what's going on now. You need to cut the hole for the seatbelt mounting. I'll get that, just requires some cutting and, removing this in and out. And those are number 8 screws, by the way, right? The threads on the number 8 sheet metal screws. That is a flat head, so it's flush. you know, fit that hole very well. All right, guys, the headliner is actually in. What you'll kind of see in my videos is I'm, you know, not a professional. Sometimes the most difficult things don't get filmed because I just lose my mind and lost my temper. That's what happened here. So let me show you. This right here is $30 worth of garbage. I guess I could use scraps of that maybe to cover the, recover the, what do you call these things? Sunvisors. But the point is I'm trying to glue this thing up while I'm in the car, which is not normally how you do it. Normally you do this, you know, out on the ground. So what I figured out is this is really difficult. You definitely need two people. Thank you to my wife. So what I did was I folded it in half and I put that masking tape stripe on where the middle was, you know, so you have something to work out from. And then I glued about the first 1.5 feet or so. So you put glue on the headliner itself, the car, and then you put glue on the fabric when it's on the ground, and then you made them together. But I glued the entire car, and then only glued about the first 18 inches of the headliner. That way I could line it up. It could be wrinkled. It could, you know, touch itself. There's no glue on the headliner while it's drooping. And that let me line up the center and just tack enough of the front to hold it. Then I glued more, pressed it up, glued more, pressed it up, glued more. And then look how it's starting to look. Like here, I got this trim piece on. Isn't that nice? This bump here is for, you know, where the thingy is going to bolt on, the sun visor. And I got the fabric trimmed back. I'm like elated here. I had to poke the wires through, but I think it's going to be really nice. So here is the visors. They're pretty awful fabric. Obviously it doesn't match now my new headliner material, and they're just filthy dirty. When you take it apart, this is what you get, right? Padding, cloth, and this is the you know, edging around the vinyl. I don't know what you call it, but anyway, the vinyl edging. It's pretty simple to take apart. First, these little metal clips, clamps, whatever you call them, these metal ends. Just all I did was just basically get the needle nose pliers inside of it. Other one wasn't this hard. There you go. Once you get inside of it a little bit, peel it open, and it just comes off. Save those for later. And just take a nice sharp knife and just get between the stitches. Remember, I've tailored suits, you know, for myself, not professionally. So I can sew a little bit, and, you know, I've done a little bit of upholstery stuff. It's not that complicated. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's not that complicated. Ripping stitches open is the easy part. Putting them in is the harder part. Putting stitches in isn't even that hard. It's putting them in straight that's difficult. And I'm not sure that it'll go through this material either, my sewing machine. We're gonna find out. Anyway, I think you get the idea. All right, now that is off. And then from there, you just, that one stitch holds everything together. So once you get that off, it really comes open pretty easily. I guess those stitches are hanging in there. And then now you've got a pattern. And there's a staple there, holding the fabric on. Break this blade. There we go. And holes there if you want to mount a rear view, mirror. So now you've got a pattern for cutting out, a template, I should say, for cutting out. Now to make my template, I'm going to take this piece, obviously, that I just cut out. I'm going to flip it upside down. I want to have the padded side, otherwise it'll be inversed, right? And I'm just going to lay this out and, just basically just trace it. And I'm probably going to make it slightly larger, just slightly larger is safe. And then you use this from a standard sewing kit. This is like chalk, that's made for marking fabric. I'm going to go just like a 1/4 inch over. I think the next step is just going to be glue this on here, and then I'm going to worry about the seam and the finishing the edge. I think that'll work. Now I have to pick all the old stitches out of this vinyl trim. So obviously, I'm not going to make you guys watch that, but you get the idea, right? And you got to pull out all the old stitches. All right, here it goes. I'm going to go with a stitch length of, I'm going to start at a stitch length of 3.5. I'm going to go to almost the longest this machine does. Should I glue this as well?
together. It just didn't stitch through the headliner in most spots.
All I did here is just masked off, what is that, about 1/4 inch from the edge, and I sprayed it with the same glue, 3M headliner adhesive. I don't know if you can tell, I also sprayed the back side of this thing, and just let it dry up for a couple seconds, and I'm going to glue that to that. All right, let's try that again. This time I've glued it on with the same headliner glue. I think it actually worked. All right. Now let's cover that bad end there. And here's a dirty, crusty, yucky old one, at least the cover. Came out pretty doggone nice, I think. That end came up a little short, but I mean, come on. For what we're talking about, a little bit of, I may need to take some acetone and try and clean that. I think I got some glue on there, and on there. Let's see if I can clean that off, but dang, huh? Not too bad, huh? So I've got the seat belts in, as you can see there, hung back up. Now I'm ready to put in the trim that goes around there and around the back. I'm cleaning it off. These are used. I got the entire interior, minus the seats and carpet, but that, all I did was just clean from there to there. Yee! So got to clean the rest of it off. Here's what I've got going for the trunk. So this is this stuff here. I think it's upside down, but it's $10 a sheet. It's pretty thin. I think it's about 1/8 inch thick. It's pretty stiff though. It's very similar to the stuff that the foam board that I used for the the headliner, except I got black just in case you see the backside or whatever. And it's 2 sheets. It comes in sheets that are 32 inch by 40 is the biggest that Hobby Lobby has. So it took 2. You can see here I spliced 2 together, and you can see some of those cutouts. That cutout, and there's one here, one there, and there's one here. I'll show you what those are for. Well, here, let's see. So you see there is the spare tire well thing. There's actually, it's hard to see, but let me get the light. You can see it's angled through there, right? For that. And then for right there as well. And there you go. So let me continue making some more sides, and just keep progressing. see if this works. I've got the piece here covered, as you can see, right? And I've got, you can tell, Velcro tabs on it. And then on this piece as well, this piece also has a couple Velcro tabs on it. Holy crap, that worked. No way. No way, dude. Look at that. That's pretty decent. I think that works. I mean, the seam could be tighter, but for my level of skill and never having done this before, that gap down there kind of sucks. There we go. That's not bad. That's presentable. Let me do the other side now. This one's done. I just got to do this piece. Here it is. It's not 100%. Oh, let me get these clips back on. And I'm going to do the back. I'm not doing the back now because I need to take the amplifiers down and make some kind of backboard to do all that, and that's going to be a pain in the butt because I got to take the rear seat out. So for now, I'm just going to leave it for now. That's pretty decent. I like it. What do you guys think? It's certainly not professional, but you know, for what I have in it, I think it's a lot more presentable. Here's a trunk finished. It's not professional, but it's not too shabby, I don't think. At some point I will do the front wall there where the amps are, but I'm not doing it now because I got to pull the rear seat out and then pull the amps off of the, you know, the mounting. But I would like to finish that up at some point. I don't think it's half bad. Not too shabby, huh? The beauty of this age here is that you can learn pretty much anything if you're willing to, you know, dig and spend a little bit of time on it. So as you can see, I'm going from the two 12-inch subwoofers here, and there is a plug on each side, obviously, well, not obviously, so for each, you know, pair of speakers. And, you know, here's the wiring. You see, one for one subwoofer, another for another subwoofer. Now this is a single 10-inch box, right? 10-inch subwoofer, much smaller, single input there. So the way this gets wired, you can see the wire without a blue on it. So this wire, positive, goes to here. Now you see this wire, I don't know if you can tell, this wire here is just jumped. If you can see, this individual wire goes from the positive one side to the negative of the other. So then I have this wire here, negative, and the positive hooked to the terminal. So what that does is, there's two voice coils in this speaker. I'm not going to go into all the details, but I even checked it with the ohm meter. If I were to just go from here to here, it measures out at a little under 2 ohms. Now, when I did this and I measured it, I got like 3.6. That means 4 ohms. So in other words, I always remembered this from electrical. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, voltage equals I times R. So the voltage is set basically, let's call it 12 volts. I is current, R is resistance. So the resistance is 4 ohms. I went from basically running it as, you know, 2 ohms to 4 ohms per the instructions for that amplifier, okay? That is the Kenwood KAC-7205, says run it. If you're running at bridge, do you want 4 ohms? So in other words, if I ran it without this jumper wire and it was running at 1 or 2 ohms, then that means the twinkle, twinkle, little star, voltage equals I times R. Voltage is set, the resistance would go down, my current would go up, and I could burn stuff up. So anyway, make sure you figure that out, follow those instructions. There's a lot of good instructions online. Now that this is wired internally, I can get it all hooked up. All right, I've got it. The only thing I don't like is I would have rather have put like a grill like this, you know, like I did on these to, you know, protect it from stuff bumping into it when you have to load in your trunk. But it wouldn't fit because you see how large, how, I don't know what to say, how far, you know, the actual speaker cone, this is what you call it, the you know, the, I don't know what you call it, the foam that lets the speaker move in and out. You know, I couldn't even if I had cut these, I thought about just cutting these tabs off because these things are really cheap and sticking it behind that, but I can't because it actually physically hits here and I think it's going to interfere with the movement of the speaker. So I'll have to figure something else out at a later date or just leave it exposed like that, which I don't think it'll be bad being up in that, you know, I don't think it'll be a big problem. So that's not going on. Now, as far as these wires, remember I've got 2 pairs of wires here, but only 1 on the box. So this is the actual instructions from the, you know, found online because I never got instructions because that amplifier came with the car, but I found them online. So here's that. I know it's hard to see, but that says bridged speaker output. Basically, you take the positive from the left channel and the negative from the right channel. That's how that goes. So what that means is the way I can hook this up. I guess you know what I'll do is I get the box up in there, then I'll show you. It's pretty awesome the way that thing fits up in there. Just kind of like tucks up in there. And it kind of, I know it kind of looks like these bars are hitting, but it's not. I can actually fit 2 fingers, almost 2 fingers between. There's clearance between these, you know, what do you call them, springs. I know the Rockford Fosgate looks like it's kind of like not level, but these holes, you know, if I turn to the Rockford Fosgate as level, then these holes are not even. So I had to pick one of them to be even. I picked that to be even and those screw holes to be even. It would bother me more with screw holes being uneven. I think that's, you know, inked on there unevenly. But now, let me get some light over here. Oh, this thing's awesome. Look at this, just stick-on light. I love it. Thanks to my mother-in-law for Christmas. So basically, I'd take the positive from one. I don't think it matters which, left channel. Oh, don't tell me these things don't fit. Well, I need to take the positive from one and the negative from the other. I thought those were banana jacks. I'll have to figure this out. They might be smaller. Here's some little things you run into. This is the connector that came on the speaker box. Seemed fine. If you look at it, you push, and you can just slip a terminal in there. And it's got a small hole in it. It's a really tiny hole. This is for 4mm banana jacks, which is what I have on. The same exact thing I bought from Amazon I have here for standard size banana jacks at the end of the speaker ends here, as you can see. So what I'm trying to say is these don't fit into here. They're way, way, way too large to fit into there. So, ordered me one of these, a pair of these from Amazon, and now I can use the same wire ends on both speaker boxes. And here it is all finished up. By the way, I didn't explain this really well. The purpose of the 10-inch subwoofer here is for the hot rod power tour or any other trips where now I've got basically almost the full trunk to be able to utilize. If you saw, the big subwoofer box comes out just before where the spare tire thing is. And now I could possibly even maybe put in a spare tire or, you know, mini spare, those maybe one of those inflatable spares, something. But point is now I have a reasonable trunk that I, you know, can actually put stuff in. Because the hot rod power tour, I just don't want like luggage or our stuff, especially with 2 people in the car, sitting in the back seat, you know, or things like that. So the whole purpose of this small box, and of course, you know, can't really, well, I could play music if I play non-copyrighted, but it does not have this thing will like beat your brains out. I mean, it can almost make you nauseous if you put on the right song and, you know, want to torture somebody. This thing's got some decent punch, you know. If I didn't have 2 12s, I wouldn't, you know, probably realize, you know, that this isn't awesome. But it sounds nice, you know. By the way, box and the Rockford Fosgate P2D2. It's a punch series. I got both of these from Century 2000 in Akron, Ohio. Century 2000. Thank you guys so much. They worked with me. They were looking, you know, because obviously I wasn't trying to maximize because I already have, you know, something really great here. So I wanted something reasonably priced that I could swap out, not blow a lot of money on. To tell you the truth, this box doesn't cost much more than what the materials would have cost to make it myself, you know, and it came done. So, you know, that was really nice. Appreciate you guys. But like I said, I'm pretty happy with the way this thing came out. You know, and with the headliner as well.
All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you've missed some of my other videos, maybe you want to go back to the playlists or just go to my YouTube page, Cobbler Bob, and check out what you've missed. I've got a lot of good content on there, and there's going to be the engine buildup for this car as well as the front suspension videos are in the works. Okay, thank you very much. God bless and have an amazing day.